Football, man. Talking football. If you're a football fan, if you're a fan of the NFL, if you love watching great football, man, let me know your predictions for the season. What teams should should we be looking out for this season? You know, what teams do you have on your radar who may make some noise that not a lot of people are talking about? You know, for me, my Texans, I think we're gonna have a good year if we can stay healthy. Um, if our O-line can stay healthy, if we can continue to protect C.J. Stroud, if he can read and react and get the ball out quickly, I think we're gonna have a big year. I think we're gonna have a big season. But we talking football, man. Give me your predictions on the season. Give me your prediction on the season. I'll wait for a couple people to come in as I go live. You know, as I go live, I'm at the gym right now, but just waiting for a couple people to get in here and we can get this talk going. You know, we can get things going. But yeah, we talking football. Talking football this season, or this video, this live. First game, Philly and Dallas. Returning champions, defending champions in Philly. Bringing back all their starters on offense. Bringing back most of the defensive pieces. I know they lost a couple guys. I know they lost a couple important pieces on the defense, but I think that they still have a good season as long as Saquon is healthy, long as those skill guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, as long as those guys are healthy, I think they have a great season. As long as Hurts, you know, does what he usually does, you know, make the right reads, continue to make the plays with his legs, I think they'll have a great year. I don't see no reason why they can't at least be in the NFC Championship by the end of the season, especially at the NFC. We're talking football talk. If you're coming in, we're talking football talk. If you got any predictions on the season, just let me know, dropping them in the comments. Like I'm talking about Philly and Dallas right now, man. Just trying to get you guys' insight on the football season, what you guys may think, what you guys may feel. You know, just trying to get into your your football mind and see, you know, who's looking forward to what. My predictions for the year, my predictions for the season, man. Like I say, first game this Thursday, Philly and Dallas. It should be a good one. I'm expecting Philly to win. We know Dallas lost Michael Parsons, so that's going to be tough to recover from, but I still think they'll go out there and compete. They definitely will be able to put up points with Philly with Dak back healthy and with the addition of George Pickens. And, you know, with CD back healthy and, you know, a very shaky running back room, but I think they'll get better as the season goes on. But Philly and Dallas, first thoughts, man. What's your predictions on that? You know, early predictions on Philly and Dallas this Thursday. I think Philly has another run in them. I know they lost a couple defensive pieces this past year, but I think they still are solid. You still got A.J. Brown, still got Dallas Goedert. You know, Saquon, if he's healthy. If Devontae Smith stays healthy, if Jalen Hurts is making the reads that he usually makes, you know, he's using his legs to win games, I don't see why they're not back in the NFC Championship, to be, you know, truthful with you. But I got Philly winning that one probably by 10 to 14 points. I don't know if Dallas defense will be able to, you know, to just get enough stops and contain Saquon and Jalen Hurts in the backfield. You know, that's hard to do, especially when Hurts is passing the ball really well. But Philly and Dallas, I got Philly for that one. Now let's go to Ravens and Buffalo. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, a rematch of the divisional round, man. We know Bills got them last year. We know Lamar and company, you know, they fell short. They made a couple mistakes in that game that probably could have, you know, helped them overcome losing that game in Buffalo. It was little things that they lost when they played in that game. You know, the missed turnovers. You know, the small things. You know, the drop pass. Everybody talks about Mark Andrews and the drop pass, but I think, you know, when you look back at that game, it was a lot of little things that they did that they could have did a lot better. Buffalo, kudos to them. They had a great game plan. I don't think they were the better team, but they were the better team that day. I don't know how things are going to look for either team this season. We know Baltimore, they brought a lot of guys back, and they added a couple new pieces. And with Buffalo, it's kind of the same thing. I think they lost a couple defensive guys. You know, receiving room, they don't have no no true wide receiver one, but they do have Josh Allen, and they got James Cook, and they got a couple other guys, on that O-line that can take some of that pressure off those receivers and, those tight ends that they have. But it's always a collective effort with Buffalo. I think they'll be in contention as usual. I think that they will, do what they usually do. 11-12 win team. They probably have a bad loss here or there throughout the season, but Buffalo's going to be Buffalo. Baltimore, they're probably a Super Bowl favorite out the AFC, to be honest with you. If they can just put it all together in the playoffs. They can put it all together in the playoffs, man. There's no reason that they shouldn't at least be playing on Sunday for the Super Bowl. I think Baltimore is a real threat out the AFC. If not one of the top 3 threats out the AFC, man. It's all about, can they put it together in the end? Can Lamar Jackson and company put it all together? Can they finally put the pieces together? The talent is there, but they always fall short. And I really don't think it's more so on Lamar Jackson, because Lamar, he plays a great game come playoff time. He probably doesn't pass the best, and I feel like he kind of, overreads at times and overthinks certain situations in the playoffs. But we talking football talk. If you just coming in, I'm just giving my predictions on the season, just trying to get y'all thoughts, see how y'all feel about everything. Just seeing who y'all got as some wild cards, who y'all got as people or teams who may make a run this year, who you think is gonna be, the one to come out when it's all said and done. Right now I'm speaking Buffalo and Baltimore, of course, 2 teams that everybody consider to have a chance at going to the Super Bowl. I'm speaking on Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I was speaking on Lamar Jackson and company. Just talking about how they can be better, what they can work on. But moving on, I think another great matchup this season, week 1, is the Rams and my Texans. I think those are 2 wild cards, 2 dark horses that can come out the AFC. If you really watch football, if you really know football, the Rams, they are legit. They legit. If Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, if Puka Nacua can stay healthy, if Davante Adams can beat Davante Adams of old, and that defense, can get after guys, and that secondary can hold up pretty strong, I think the Rams really can, like a ceiling. They have a ceiling of going to the NFC Championship. If you watch and you know football, the Rams are a really, really good team, and I think it's going to be a real good test for my Texans this Sunday. We need to be battle tested. As a Houston fan, I know we need to be battle tested. We need to see if our O-line is legit. We need to see if our O-line can hold up. If they can withstand some legit defensive pressure, because we struggled last year protecting C.J. Stroud. If you watched any Texans games, the Texans, we struggled last year. We didn't have a great O-line. And, of course, our wide receiver room got banged up with Tank, with Nico. So we were playing a lot of third, fourth-string guys on the depth chart, trying to maintain. But I think if the Texans are healthy, we'll definitely be a top 5 team in the NFL. Our defense for sure will be top 3. We probably have if not one of the best defenses in all of national football. No doubt about it. Nobody can tell me differently. My Texans are legit. I think we'll be a very good team. Hopefully our offense can be productive. If we can't produce offensively, it's going to be a long season for us. Our defense is going to be able to only do so much for us throughout the season, but eventually we're going to have to put points up on the board, especially versus the big dogs like the Chiefs and the Bills and the Ravens. Those are the guys that we're going to have to go through when it's all said and done anyway. So I expect my Texans to be very good this year. I expect them to have a great season, but again, if our offense isn't clicking, if we're not producing points, we can beat mediocre teams. We can beat teams like the Jaguars and the Titans, those teams in our divisions. I'm trying to think like Chargers. We can get away with it versus teams like that. But if we're not putting up points against the elite teams of the AFC, the ones that have been there or that are going to be there, that I spoke about, then we won't have a chance. But overall, man, I think, Texans are going to have a great season. I'm trying to think of any other matchups out there that we have. Chiefs and Chargers, I think that'll be a great matchup, always a good matchup. I really believe Patrick Mahomes is due for an MVP season. I think Patty is going MVP. Believe it or not.